Hey everybody, welcome to the CineNerds podcast. We are your hosts. I'm James.
I'm JP.
And I'm Ryan.
And today we're going to do one of my picks. Wanted to do something a little different. Slumberland. Netflix only. So if you don't have Netflix, hack it from somebody, get someone's login. I know some people that don't have Netflix.
What? Just because I don't have Netflix?
But you watched it, so that doesn't matter. Yeah, I wanted to do something a little more lighthearted than we are all. I think we both do like a little more, not darker movies, but heavier movies. I was looking.
Is this
for something.
heavy?
It's heavy, but in a different way. It's fun heavy.
The story is the only thing that gripped me in.
This movie is a lot heavier than my pick.
Yes, I will give you absolutely for this one.
Your pick which is coming. No, don't worry.
Yeah.
It may be before, maybe it depends on when these get released. But yeah, his pick. You'll know his pick if you follow us. You'll know his pick when it comes out. This is my favorite Jason Momoa movie of everything he's ever done. For me personally, I'm not the Aquaman movies. I thought they were good. Not really. It's funny how many people to me when I bring up Jason Momoa, they go, "Oh, what about Game of Thrones?" He didn't even speak English in it. And he was in it for what, 4 or 5 episodes max?
What's that thing that he says that we like too much? There's a word. What's the word? It's a star. So Stargate Atlantis, motherfucker. That was one of his earlier roles, and it was so freaking good.
Watch it.
Yeah. It's your loss.
So
depends on how you look at things. I personally like the lightheartedness of here's the thing. We've talked about green screen in the past. We've talked about CGI in the past. I personally thought they did a really good job in this one. Of all the dreams that they go into, I really like the butterfly effect, how they did people as butterflies. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was a cool idea. Mainly, I find that interesting because I don't feel I'm that creative to think of that.
Well, before you describe scenes, give us a little overview of your movie.
Okay, so
should we do initial reactions?
Well, for this one, go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah, no. Okay.
Without an overview or initial reaction.
He's going to say. He's already let me know.
Do you want to go first, Ryan?
No.
I do not. Pass.
So, he said that he picked this movie because he thought I would like it. However, this... Okay.
This is going to be 5 minutes. I'll be over here.
Had I watched this movie when my daughter was 10 years old and I sat down and watched this movie with her, I may have said, this movie's cute. I might have said, this movie's okay. As watching it alone as a grown man, this movie was crap. I mean, just to be blunt, I did not like it at all. I think...
Now you know what it's like to be me watching the one you pick. You don't have to whisper it. Say it out loud. Say it out loud and be proud. Just like you're gay.
I'm still proud.
I think so much of this movie just steals from what other great writers and directors have done. Now, I know that the Slumberland story has been around as a comic for like 100 years. But from a movie standpoint, I feel like the director took elements from Neil Gaiman, his style. He took elements of Tim Burton's style and just kind of made a conglomerate.
So wouldn't that be paying a homage?
It just didn't work for me. It just like he tried to do what those guys did, but didn't successfully do any of it. I felt. Then you had Jason Momoa, and he is just so horrible. He's so horrible in this movie.
It's kind of like being around you. Now you know how we feel.
He feels like a Captain Jack Sparrow ripoff. He can't act for shit, and he's done some films like the first Aquaman that I enjoyed. I thought it was fun. He's done some stuff that I thought was fun, but I just don't think he's a good actor, especially. I watched this right after I watched Aquaman 2, and he does such a horrible job in Aquaman 2. And then I just followed it up with this, and I just did not like him in this at all either. The only saving grace to this film was the little story between the girl, the dad, and the uncle.
And that's really what I like about it, to be honest. I like the tie through, which we'll get to, but I like that. I like how that plays out.
Some of that's all right. I feel like I might have enjoyed this movie a bit more had Jason Momoa not been in it.
So just someone else,
just somebody else altogether.
Like who?
I don't even
think about that, Jason. Ryan, I want an answer to that.
No,
so I want you to think about.
Hold on,
this.
Let's not lose what just happened. You just called me Jason. That's
well,
Jason
we're
Momoa.
talking about Jason Momoa
Because I definitely have a physique like him. I'm just saying. Anyways, all right. So
I want an answer to that.
My initial takeaway, and that's a good question. That's a fair question because I would, if I were recasting that role, I don't know who I'd go with as well. I'll think about that too. But my initial take on this movie. So
I actually know who I'd pick.
So for me, I felt like my phone shouldn't be ringing right now. For starters,
first time.
First time on
so,
camera,
anyways,
guys.
yeah, I'm a rookie. The movie definitely had elements that made me intrigued and elements that I appreciated. However, I thought that for Slumberland being a dream world, that it fell short in its creativity and imagination. Which, if I'm thinking of a dream world, I have no limits, and I felt like there was scenes, there were elements, but there was basically repeated elements happening, and so for me, like they could have gone a lot further with it. My initial take. I saw it.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was ready for the pew pew again.
No, you're safe.
That said, though, I did feel also like there were a lot of stolen acting moments from Jason Momoa that I didn't appreciate. His voice, if I closed my eyes, I could have heard Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice. The character itself almost was reminiscent of Howie Mandel's character in Little Monsters. There were things that definitely were stolen, but what isn't nowadays? So I won't even focus on that aspect.
At this point, I'm over that stuff. Like even when it comes to music, because
everything's
we've hit a point where
everything's repeated.
As long if you do it even somewhat well, you just got to let it go.
The big,
we're at a point now where it's like if you do it bad, you need to get your ass reamed. Otherwise, whatever.
The big one that will always I always joke with my wife and tell her this, but she knows, she catches me every time there's a father and child relationship scenario. She will look over at me and there'll be a fucking tear. I will have a single tear coming down my cheek, and this one hit me.
And I'll be honest, it gets me because I now have, you've said before, I now have a stepson who, it's been 3 years now, and I mean this trip of me being in Ohio and being away from home, like. Even this morning, he's so excited. He's at 98% of Spider-Man on PS5, and like he wanted to send me a video of look where I'm at, and I'm like, nice. For me, I'm like, compared to where we were when I met him, and I like now there's, I FaceTime Heather and when you coming home, so like to have that, like I get that, but also what it does for me is remind me of how things were with me and my father. As a kid, because my dad, I grew up in Southern Ohio until I was 5. We had 2.5 acres of land, and one of my first memories is it was the house and went up the hill, and my dad had an acre garden up top that he took care of, and I'd go up there with him all the time and just run around, do whatever while he was doing whatever. And one night we went up there and he put out a blanket and we just hung out under the stars and we were talking because when you're in Southern Ohio, there's no light pollution. You just see the sky.
Right.
And I'll never forget. I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. And he looked at me and he goes, someday you're not going to want to hang out with me like this. And I remember saying, that's not going to happen. And he knew better. I didn't know better. Move forward. I'm about 12 years old. We're putting a new roof on the garage. The neighbors are playing basketball. The kids are playing basketball 2 doors over. And he catches me, that's my sport. And he catches me just. And he goes, go ahead. You've been up here all day. Go ahead. I was gone for 5 minutes, and I remembered being on that hill, and I climbed back. Guys, I gotta go back, and I climbed up on the ladder, and he didn't know I came back up. He didn't hear me, and and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I promise you that wouldn't happen." So these kind of movies, it hits me like that. You know, I get both sides now. I got the kid, and I got what I remember with my dad. So, me personally, I mean, these are the movies that I like to watch when I'm not trying to really, like, I don't want to say not pay attention because I'm paying attention, but I don't want to be like, it's just not so heavy for me. It's a fun heavy. It's a fun going through the worlds and like so here's what you guys got to. So let's get into the movie. You asked me to go into the movie. Let me give a little background.
So before we do that, you asked a question. Who would I recast?
Yeah.
Who would I recast? So off the top of my head, just thinking about it for just a couple minutes, I got 3 actors that I think would have done way better.
Spit it out, brah.
First one, not as familiar actor, Andrew Lee Potts. I don't know, you might know him. He was in Primeval, the series. He also played the Mad Hatter in the made-for-TV with Alice in Wonderland. He would be really great. Then 2 doctors, David Tennant or Matt Smith. Either one would have nailed this part.
That's actually, I think that would be solid. David Tennant. I just watched the first special of the 4 on Disney, so I can go with that.
If we could have taken someone from a time period and put him here, I would have loved to see early 2000s. No, Madge lost his. Wow, Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser. I would have loved to see Brendan Fraser. Like the Mummy version of Brendan Fraser.
I love him. I don't think he has the. I don't know. I've never seen him have that type of range. I don't know. I don't know.
Like the Encino Man weirdness, and the Airheads kind of like dopiness. I think it'd have been good. But anyway, let's go into.
I don't hate it. I like Brendan Fraser, so I think that would be something that would be.
And you've seen The Whale, right?
So
I have not seen The Whale.
So,
you need to watch The Whale.
So did you? You said you read the comics for this?
No, I never. The comics were a comic strip that started in 1905.
But Flip's character, Jason Momoa's character, how is that character represented in the comics? Is he supposed to be comedic relief?
I don't know.
So I guess that'd be my question.
I would have to go back and look
casting.
up some of the comic strips because I don't know.
If he's supposed to have quirkiness, David Tennant's not a bad one, but I also think of Ryan Reynolds right off the rip because he's got that funny, like, I think he could carry that character well.
Yeah.
So the movie, let's start off with the movie. So little girl living in a lighthouse with her dad, pretty shut off from the world from what it looks like, but she's happy, he's happy, everything's cool. And he says, she's like, tell me a story before I go to bed. And he's always telling stories about Flip. He's always got a story about this character Flip. And in the beginning, you're like, at least it's all the same, like. And then a storm comes, and she's like, make sure kid's okay. Hey, to do with the generator, blah blah blah. Which, by the way, I actually looked these up. I want to find a light like she had in her room that would rotate and do that. Mm-hmm. I really like. I was actually Googling trying to find one, but the storm unfortunately takes father, and they come to get her, and she has to go live with her uncle who has been estranged from dad for forever. She has to go to a real school. She hates it. She doesn't like anything. She wants to be back at the lighthouse. And this guy is like no social skills at all. Like he's a doorknob salesman. He owns the company. Like he's not just a salesman, but he's the owner of the company, living in a ridiculously awesome apartment with a museum of doorknobs in his house, which I actually kind of found interesting. But he's trying to find a way to just be there for her and try to find a way to just even have any kind of interaction with her. And it's very awkward. And she ends up falling into that dreamland and meeting Flip. Slumberland. Meeting Flip. Well, they call it the dream world.
Yeah.
And she meets Flip. So now she knows that, Dad wasn't just making this up, and but she meets him because he's rummaging through the lighthouse in her dream, trying to find a map to find pearls, magic pearls, and the story just takes off from there. They end up going, and the deal is you can't die in your own dream, but if you cross to someone else's dream, you die. And Flip doesn't want to take her. Flip just, where's the map? They go in and out of the dream a little bit. She wakes up, comes back, tries, whatever. She's like, look, I'll give you the map, but I want to see my dad again. Initially, he's lying. Yeah, I'll do it, but it's not going to happen.
He does it for his own selfish reasons.
Yeah, selfish. Flip's a very selfish individual. doesn't even know who he is anymore because he's been in the dream world for so long.
Yeah, he doesn't know who his awake personality is.
So while they're going through other dreams to find the pearls, he's being chased by dream police, which I find funny.
It is very reminiscent of the R.I.P.D. Did you ever see that one?
Yes. And I saw the sequel.
I did too.
I just loved how it was Detective Green, but yet everything's green. Like, I mean, it's kind of, who didn't see that coming? But
nobody catch that correlation, by the way, for the Dream Cop. Did that not remind you of Loki?
That's why I said R.I.P.D. It reminds me of the Rest in Peace department. But
it's more Loki though, especially with the set design.
Yeah, never saw Loki.
Oh, listen, I will say this. Loki, everything that's wrong with the Marvel universe right now
is right
in Loki, and they could do so much from that Loki moment.
I don't know anything about Marvel universe.
Well, I'm sorry, A, and B.
I'm okay with it.
That's fine. There's a lot to catch up on if you were to jump into it, but people watching who know Marvel, they will easily tell you that this new phase is flawed to the fullest and it's shitty, with the exception of Loki. There's a couple other little elements along the way, but anyways, I digress. Go back.
No, but so, I mean, very long story short, and we can go into other details as you guys want to talk about your parts, but they're going through dream worlds, and she keeps going in and out of trying to go back to sleep so she can get back in there to go with him because she just wants to see her dad. She ends up signing, they use an app for school. She signs herself out of school for 2 weeks so she can go hide in the basement on a cot. Or, no, she had a...
she's trying to sleep constantly to stay in this world.
Yeah, she's basically just trying to sleep all the time to stay in the world to get back to dad. And I mean, I see what you guys are saying about some of the dream worlds, but I thoroughly enjoyed the dancing one with the butterflies. I thought that was, because I'm just not that creative.
I enjoyed
my creativity comes out of music. My creativity is not art.
Some of the visuals are good.
No, for sure.
I'm not saying the visuals aren't
like,
good.
I thought the CGI was actually really well. Like, I really like the kid who's just like, I'm driving my truck. Like, he's just like just destroying buildings.
My thing with it is, I'm not a big CGI guy. Everybody, I've said I like practical effects.
Right.
But the CGI looked great, but it was just very reminiscent of other styles.
So imagine you saw how much this movie cost to make.
Yeah.
I saw it. You have not. We'll go there at the end. But imagine how much this would have cost to make. Remember how they didn't do Avatar in the 90s because it would have been astronomical? Imagine trying to make this then. It wouldn't have been possible.
Absolutely, they could have. What Dreams May Come is proof of that.
That was more late 90s.
Yeah, but there's still, I mean, that's the same window.
I don't think you wouldn't have had the same visual that you had in this film.
Because What Dreams May Come only had, like, it was a couple sets.
No, no. So What Dreams May Come,
I need to rewatch that.
You've got hell, you've got heaven, you've got the boat scene, you've got their own magical world.
4. You've
got there's like 2 other worlds too going on there. Like,
now I'm curious on something.
But that aside, so back to what you were saying. If when your daughter was younger, you watched this, you would have had more of a bond to it because you're
absolutely. If this had came out when my daughter was 6, 7, 8, 10 years old, and she'd been like, "Dad, let's sit down and watch this," I would have enjoyed it. I would have watched it and said this was a cute movie.
So I did sit down and watch it initially with at the time he was 10. My son and I watched this together, and looking over at him and seeing the smile on his face throughout the whole movie, and he's laughing, he's giggling at everything Flip's doing. He's drawn into the character. He likes that the girl's a similar age to him. All those elements mattered to him and helped his creativity a lot. And so from that standpoint, I genuinely did enjoy it. Watching it through as a grown-up, though, as you were saying, I looked at it a lot deeper. That's where things got a little bit more distorted for me as far as the emotional aspects. But I didn't disagree with what you're saying about, like, I love the imagery and I love the scenes. What I'm saying is that I would have liked to see more out of it, though. I would have liked them to get more creative.
I get that.
But to the cost fact.
So I have What Dreams May Come pulled up now, too, so I can tell you that. And you're going to be like, wow.
And this movie came out. What year was it?
This?
Yeah.
Last year.
No,
22.
So, yeah. So the difference is for you, and you watch it with your daughter.
They have more capability to do more now.
You watch it with your daughter.
Son.
Yeah. Had my daughter asked me to watch this when it came out, she would have been 21, 22 years old. It probably would have never been a movie on her radar.
My daughter's 25, and if she asked me to watch something now that was father-daughter related, I'd still be like, ah! My daughter, we went and watched Cocaine Bear together. That's the relationship we have.
This is why this is such.
There's only 2 Cocaine Bear Funkos, and I have them. I do too. Yeah, I love them.
But so, the split up happens. Obviously, she's just on a mission to go find these pearls, which the detective, the cop, has said they don't exist.
Detective Green, by the way.
Detective Green does not. They don't exist. But she ends up getting back to the lighthouse. And she ends up finding them. And now keep in mind, throughout all of this, the reason why they keep getting found is because of her fear in the Slumberland, in the dream world. Because there's a, what did they call it now? I can't remember what they called it, but the nightmare. She has a nightmare, which ironically has tentacles. Mm-hmm. I think that's just like the new thing now. Everyone just goes with now. Like, it's got to be creepy. It's got tentacles.
Those are pretty horrific.
They are, but
it's everybody paying tribute to Cthulhu.
It's getting old.
Which is getting its own movie finally.
I actually am kind of excited about.
Who's the director that's taking that on?
I'm not sure who's directing that.
It's probably gonna be Tim Burton.
No, it's somebody decent. It's not Burton. It's not Burton. It was somebody decent though. But anyways, go.
But yeah, so she's trying to stay ahead. Like the whole time, every time the nightmare shows up, Flip is pissed because he's about to get busted and they can get caught. They can get found by Green. And at the end, she's going for that. She finds the pearls, and she has a stuffed pig that's with her the whole time, which I actually like the pig.
The stuffed pig was the highlight of the movie.
I agree.
No way.
No, I agree.
It was cool, but
the pig was the cuteness factor that was necessary for the movie for sure.
I thought the pig.
I don't care how manly you are. I think the pig is cute.
I think the pig has a better character development than Jason Momoa's character.
We're gonna move on.
No, I don't agree with that.
But she finds it. But what happens is she wants to go home so bad that the uncle got her a boat, and she said, "I'm done sailing." But then she leaves. She sneaks out and she goes to the boat.
Well, let's rewind. Let's talk about the relationship between the uncle and this little girl.
It's
that's important.
It's pretty non-existent. And honestly, you really start feeling bad for the uncle because I get it. She's hurt. She misses Dad. She doesn't really know this guy. And this guy is so damn awkward.
And he doesn't know how to take care of her.
No, and so, but you know what? But damn, he tries. He does try.
He does try. He's reading books. He's talking to the school therapist. He's talking to everyone that he can to try and make that difference.
He's staying up all night reading books on the couch, trying to how do I interact with a teenager or however old she is.
But there's a reason. There's a foundation to the reason why he's the way he is, and he's almost emotionless, even though he's trying to have this connection with his niece.
Because he misses his brother.
He misses his brother, but also he's missing half of himself.
He lost half of himself.
Well, we didn't get there yet.
Well, that's where I was kind of leading into.
You're right. So, go ahead. Keep going. You've already touched that. Go ahead. I'm serious.
I'm not. There's so many touching jokes right there at that moment. I'm sorry. I had to. No. We're not high fiving right now. We're not. I'm not doing one of your weird handshakes. Anyways, Jesus. Feel better? Feel better? All right. Now that we got that out of our system, we're gonna sword fight next. No. He didn't even take the sip yet, and he threw up in his mouth. So I'll get back to the point here. So the brother, though, so he and the little girl's father. What's the father's actor? What's the actor name, by the way? Because he's a notable actor.
It was.
I would have liked to see more of him, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, he was. I was actually enjoying his character at the beginning of the movie, and for whatever reason, and I know they have no relation. They have nothing similar at all. But for whatever reason, the whole beginning of the movie, I felt like it felt like I was watching James and the Giant Peach for some reason.
It was Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler. I like his acting. He's been in a few things. I got more of looking at a Norman Rockwell painting vibe. Like that's kind of the vibe. Maybe it was the lighthouse and the shirts, the oversized sweaters. But that relationship between the the brothers, the father and the uncle, is so detrimental because it's foundational in where the father's telling the daughter these stories every night based on a character named Flip. And the little girl, you get 3/4 of the way through this movie, and the little girl now starts understanding that Uncle Philip being said fast, Flip.
His alter
ego was Flip.
But they spent a lot of time in the dream world together, and that's where all the stories come from. So.
And most people, when they go into dream world, when they're in dream world, they wake up and they fade away and they come back into dream world and they're good. Some people, as we found out through this movie, divide essentially.
Yeah.
So this when they had the trauma of the father and the uncle falling apart and not talking to each other anymore, and the uncle felt abandoned by the father.
That piece of him died.
He shut down that piece. That piece died and stayed in the dream world essentially.
Yeah, because at one point, Momoa's character Flip says, "I don't remember who I am. And I don't want to. The hard shell.
I can't wake up.
I can't. I don't want to know. I love it in here. This is where I belong. Blah blah blah. The trying to push away the feelings. Mm-hmm. Basically, that's how I took that. He wasn't really that hard of a guy. He wants it. I took it as he wanted to have it back, but he didn't know how to get it back, so he's got to act like a badass, hard ass that he doesn't care.
What's funny is, just like all of our wives, while there's two personalities going on here, sorry, I had to, there is still an underlying thing happening. If you notice, both Flip and Philip, even though they're both complete polar opposites, they are still the same in the sense that they want nothing to do with feelings. Yeah, they don't want to feel. There's because
they're both hurt.
They're both hurt. You have Flip, who wants to be adventurous, courageous, not think about the consequences, and just live life on the edge. And then you've got Philip, who sells doorknobs and is passionate about doorknobs as a hobby. He doesn't have any friends. He's a hermit. He doesn't even know how to connect with his niece. So as polar opposites as they are, they're still the same and blocking out that stuff.
So with that being said, I like the kids. They're quick parts, but I like the kid at school that wanted to be her friend.
Yeah, he's cool.
Because he's really nerdy, but he's like he embraced it. Like when he walks over to the friends, they did the
zombie.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, if you did that, you'd get ripped.
The cool thing about that kid was he didn't sell her out or throw her under the bus until it was her safety.
Yes.
So when she's sleeping in the basement
area
of the school, when she's sleeping in the basement area of the school, he catches her because he's got his own little mushroom garden down there. Like he's watching the spores and how they grow and all this fun stuff, right? So, but he catches her in her little hammock, and he doesn't throw her under the bus, doesn't say anything until later on. You get later into the movie, and they can't find her, and so he says, "Okay, I know where she's at." Brings them there, and they start what's the word I'm looking for? Discovering what's been going on.
One of my favorite, and it's a very quick, small part, one of my favorite parts is when they're both sitting in front of the counselor, and they're both, like, attacking the counselor. It's the first time that they're on the same page. They're like, we're fine. Dude. Screw off. Like,
dude, let's talk about the counselor for a minute, because she is fucking hot. Dude, she has this whole Betty Page vibe going, and I'm here for it. That's all I wanted to say.
Cool. So let's get to the end here. So they, ultimately, Flip and Philip, like, she's in the dream world, and she goes, look, like, here's who you are. I know who you are. And and keep in mind, she took, like I said a little bit ago, she took her boat, and she was going to go back to the lighthouse. Well, things get rocky. She gets knocked out. She's about to fall in the water. But in the dream world, because she's dreaming, she's like, Flip, I know who you are. Blah, blah, blah. And it brings back the memory, which then lights up Philip internally to go, oh, wait, I remember who that whole side came back. All of a sudden, he wants to be Superman. I got
a whole thing about that.
And he ends up jumping into the water. I mean, he's on this boat for a rescue, looking like he is just scared to be on that boat. Like,
and then it's like a light switch.
Poof, and he's like, get out of my way. I'm getting her. And, and he goes in and saves her. And
I love moments in movies that you have transitional moments whether it's an antagonist or protagonist. I love when that happens. The flip happens, like our boys from Radioactive Dreams, when they transition into who they need to be to survive the outside world. It's the same thing as when Philip, like when she gets that pearl and wishes for Philip to wake up, or Flip to wake up.
Yeah.
And Flip's personality, it's almost like it instantaneously joins with Philip, and all of a sudden he's got his courage.
Well, and we should say, we need to go into that. So she gets the pearl. She gets one wish. Her wish was to see Dad. Originally. But what did she do? She wished for Flip to wake up.
Mm-hmm. So in that process, there's a lot more to unpack there, because in that process of him trying to find a relationship with his niece, Philip, and bond with her, he brings out an old trunk of memories, essentially, from him and the father's childhood. And there's a old videotape. I start watching it, and she sees Philip as a kid dressed up in what looks like garments that Flip is wearing. And she starts piecing it together.
The horns and everything.
Yeah. She starts piecing it together, and she's like...
Yep.
And she's looking back and forth because she's kind of distraught. She's like, "Oh my God, Flip. This is what my dad was telling stories about his brother."
She ran away right after. Yeah. She was like, "Oh, I gotta go to bed.
I gotta go to bed." And all of a sudden, she knows what her mission is. It's like everything kind of changes, and she still wants to see her dad, but
this is more important.
Yes,
Dad's gone. This is more important.
Yes, he's here and he's trying, and she recognizes it.
But I really liked at the end how the nightmare was coming at him, going through all the dreams. Like, I really, like, it's my favorite part, because he's just destroying through everything. And they're, like, I love the idea of, in the little kid's truck, the only way through to the next one's through the glove box.
Yeah.
Like what kind of shit is, like, I just don't think of that stuff. So I like that kind of stuff, but at the end, he's, the Kraken, it even says on Wikipedia, it's a Kraken kind of thing, has a hold of Flip, and he throws her the pearl to get her wish. Like, he was sacrificing himself, and then she goes and changes the wish.
You can edit that and you can put beluga whale.
Do you want me to?
That's the disadvantage to Wikipedia. I'm just saying.
Do you want me to do that?
No, but just let you know, Mr. Wikipedia.
I know that, but it's just easier.
Just saying, don't believe everything
I
you
don't
read.
like the layout of IMDb. That's why I never look at it. I do not like the layout of the website.
I like the...
It's not very cohesive.
It's not.
If they would lay it out like Wikipedia, I would use it every
quick
time.
ratings at the top. Rating, like Rotten Tomatoes scores usually there if they have it.
And those are garbage. We need to start talking about those more.
Well, we'll dig into that.
Those
I fucking hate
shit.
them. If a movie underperforms on Rotten Tomatoes, then I want to see it.
Yeah,
if it overperforms, I'm like, eh.
Exactly.
But so back to the getting into the ending here. The little girl, recognizing that she can wake up Uncle Philip, when she does it in that moment, and he all of a sudden wakes up and realizes who he is, he takes his life vest off. They're in the middle of a storm. She's crashed her sailboat against the rocks, and she's unconscious, as you said, because the boom hit her in the head.
She falls out.
And as the boat, it's sitting on the rocks and it's tilting, and she just keeps rocking. And finally, she goes out. She goes in the water, and he all of a sudden grows a pair, and he jumps in the water without the life vest, dives down, and brings her up, and we start seeing everything unfold. Now, Dream Cop, Detective Green, whatever it is. I like her character a lot because there's this
the 70s vibe.
70s vibe. There's this elusiveness. She's fixated on Flip's character. He's number one wanted in Dream World.
She's been chasing him for 30 years.
Yeah. And so, but she's the little girl and not Flip, and she goes, "You got a good pig there." So the character development, as you were talking about,
the character development that I was talking about is the pig drops a second pearl.
So the pig is so just to go back to this too, when she's in her dream world,
squeeze it.
She finds the pearls in the wreck of her father's boat. There's a crack in the top of the ship, and she can see the pearls down below, but she can't get to them. So she lowers her pig down to get a pearl. She just thinks he's getting one pearl, and that's all we all think until you get to the end when Detective Green walks by her and says, "Your pig." What did you say? Squeeze the pig again, or give the pig a hug, something like that. And another pearl comes out after she made the wish. So she now has the ability to spend time with her father that she wanted so desperately.
So here's my question. Of all the scenes in this movie, I know you didn't really like it too much, but there's a scene that you liked, I'm sure. What was because my favorite part of the whole was like, now the uncle has the charisma again, that he's woken up.
Yeah,
I love how he stole the watch. And then he wouldn't give it back.
Well, rewind before that even. Uncle Flip, Landon Betty Page teacher. That's what I'm talking about, dude. He's all sly with his leather coat, and he's like, "How you doing?" Like it's got that. Oh, it was good.
He took her watch, got in the car, and she's
like, "No, really, can I have the watch?" And he just hands it to his niece. They're like, "Here you go." Uncle Philip, who was a doorknob salesman and knew how to pick locks as his hobby, now is a master thief. Essentially, he's bonded with his two personalities, and he literally sleeps her watch off the wrist.
For a minute in the real world.
It's going to benefit him well with that Betty Page future. I'm excited for him.
We need the second one just to see how that would happen.
I think talking about what would be my favorite scenes in the movie. I love everything with the pig. I just generally do like the pig in the movie.
The pig's the best.
The pig's the best. The best thing about the whole movie for me. But
nothing happens to the pig. The pig just kind of bounces around.
But I guess if I was to pick one scene that I just really was like, okay, I'm digging this, was the opening scene, just the interactions between her and her dad, and the story time with, like you said, the little light.
The setup was good.
With it showing like a picture and like everything within the shadows. I like that whole scene. And then after that, that's kind of when the movie lost me. The movie lost me as soon as Jason Momoa came in. To be blunt,
he doesn't have a lot of depth as an actor. He does not. And I'm sorry, Jason. It's just what it is. Okay, you're
I was just happy to see him in a movie where he's actually got a shirt on the whole movie. Like that's really...
You know what? I feel like that movie was filmed in between roles, and you could even. I was proud to see a little belly on him because you could tell on the shirt he had a little belly.
Or did they put that on him?
I think when he's in between the Aquaman roles, I think he's letting himself go a little, having the beers.
He's a drinker.
Yeah. I would love. You listen. We'll talk about your character depth, Jason, over some beers. Let's do that sometime.
So, fun facts that I read about this.
Wait. So, were you done with your favorite scene?
Yeah.
Okay, my apologies. Go ahead. Fun facts.
Oh, do you?
His favorite scene is the pig. Whenever the pig.
Just the pig.
And
okay.
I said the opening scene was
open scene, but the pig.
It was kind of general, so I was just clarifying. Mine was all right. Sappy Ryan moment was at the end when she is reconnected with her father, and she has this time in her dream because time's obviously expanded in Dream World, and she's got this time with her father, and she has these moments, and the father goes, "What does he say to her?" Something to the effect of the waiting world's waiting for you out there, and leads her back to the light, essentially, and wakes her up. That shit hit me hard. That was when that happened.
There's more than one.
No, that was reconnecting with the father after he passed away. Oh shit!
He needed sunglasses to sit in his living room at 11 o'clock at night.
I wear my sunglasses at night.
Something's in my eye.
So, fun fact: I didn't find a lot of random facts about this film. I mean, it's a fairly newer film anyway. But I did not know this, and maybe you guys do. There's actually been 2 other versions of this story.
On film?
On film.
Okay.
There was in 1984, there was a European version, and it was called Dream One.
Dream One?
Dream One.
Okay.
And evidently it was pretty bad. From what
so you're going to watch it? You're going to run to it?
It's going to be your favorite fucking movie on the planet.
I may give it a shot. Yeah,
I'm curious too.
Now and
Dream One is called
Dream One.
So I looked that up and it comes up as Nemo.
Okay, the second.
Well, the little girl's name is Nemo.
Yeah,
I know.
The second adaptation of it is an anime that was done a couple of years after that one. It was a Japanese anime called Little Nemo: The Adventures in Slumberland. So, and I actually remember when I saw that, I was like, I remember that anime. I never watched it, but I do remember that anime.
I actually wouldn't mind. I don't watch anime, but I actually wouldn't mind seeing that.
You mentioned we need more Slumberland, is what you said. So, little thing about the ending there. If at the end, little girl's laying there and she's starting to fall asleep, but she's got Pig next to her, and Pig's ear in real world moves. So there's some possibilities with Pig there to go forward and some adventures with Nemo. But I honestly, myself, would like it if they made a Slumberland series on Netflix and revolved it around Detective Green and her chasing down people in Dreamworld. I think that would be cool.
That would actually be really cool because I liked how Netflix did their Series of Fortune Events series.
But isn't that just
so good? That was good.
Didn't you just describe the plot to Loki?
Maybe that's the sequel. We never knew.
Can you put, when you edit this, can you just nerd alert?
Wait, maybe she, because she's in green, is Loki in the alternate universe. Maybe it's one of the alternate Lokis. There you go.
You guys can turn anything into this shit.
New branch of the timeline.
We didn't say anything with the S word.
Yet.
But we didn't.
So, do you want to do budget first or you want to do nerds first?
Let's do budget. What do you,
Ryan, what do you think?
I know the budget because I did look at it.
Looked.
You guys seem like you're thinking it was pretty high, the way that you guys are.
What do you consider high for this?
For Netflix? Netflix seems to throw a lot of money at movies that underperform, in my opinion.
They threw a lot of money at a
when
shit
he says
movie.
his number, don't say anything.
Oh.
I want to do something before that. Go ahead.
I'm gonna probably overshoot here, but I'm gonna say $105 million.
So what do you think it cost back in '98 to do What Dreams May Come?
Ooh, that's a rough one.
What do you think? I know you didn't look this up.
$63 million.
What do you think?
I'm just going to say 28 million.
Not even close. Budget for that was 85 to 90 million.
Which makes sense.
Which totally makes sense for the time.
And plus the cast. You got Cuba Gooding Jr., Robin Williams.
Yeah, you had names.
Yeah.
Slumberland. $150 million.
I was originally going to say exactly that. That's funny. I went with 105, but okay.
117 minutes worth of film. $150 million to make that. Now, I think a lot of that was probably Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
And then you got there's probably a lot of guys working on CGI in that movie. But that just shows that we just pay too much for Netflix.
Well, and they spent $150 million on this film. There's no theatrical release. There's no actual box office because it was just
they're not making any money. Yeah. They're just saying, "Hey, let's make a movie."
They're absolutely making money.
How do they besides people buying their
because the only way people can get it is to have that subscription if they can maintain their viewership. We are at a point
where we'll give
those billions,
Facebook.
Those billions of subscriptions. Look at Netflix's profitability for a year.
I know. That's why I said we are paying too much for Netflix. But I didn't hate the movie. I actually really liked the movie, so I'm okay with it.
I'm going to talk about this a little bit further because we were just chatting about this before we started filming. There's a big thing going on right now with it's the attack on physical media, if you will, and the way that these directions of the streaming platforms are going is not conducive or making me happy whatsoever because all of them are competing against each other. There's a new one every day, it seems.
Even with sports now, this will be live over here.
Yeah,
but this
and
is
then
they're
separating
over here.
them.
It's like you guys suck.
I'd rather just go back to one fucking cable service and be done with it. Honestly, go back to the hacking the internet for what we need. Pirate the shit because you know what? This is getting ridiculous. We're paying like $200-$300 to have these streaming services. It just, anyways, yeah, that's my little rant.
Well, and since we said that, and I did speak with both of them about we're going to try to be a little bit more mindful of what we pick, so they can find it and watch it. We have ways, with not everybody has.
Not always, but yeah.
But we're gonna, even if we think of a movie and it's not up now, let's keep an eye on it because they go in and out so much.
But I do think it's important to present new and unique scenarios to people so that people can see that they can make the decision for themselves. Was it shit or was it not? Does it have story? Like there's different vibes,
Agreed. What are your nerds? I love saying that. It's weird.
Oh, I'm waiting for this one.
1.9.
Oh, it's a little higher than I thought.
Okay.
That's actually higher than I thought. You know why it's a 9 and not a 2? The pig.
The pig.
Yes.
The pig.
Which I expect. And did you look at the director?
So many stoppages.
Did you look at the director? What all he had did in the past?
No.
This director that did this film did Constantine. He did The Hunger Games. He did I Am Legend. And
so all that happened was Netflix said, "Here's a big check."
That's what Netflix did. They said, "Let's get this guy and give him a lot of fucking money to make this piece of shit."
Well, I won't call it a piece of shit.
He cried.
But Listen, the emotional depth of the story that's going on between the father, uncle, and the daughter, Nemo, that wins this for me wholeheartedly. But the lack of depth to the story, the lack of creativity as far as expanding further on the dream world, I won't say the actual dream world, but
my biggest problem...
I'm in the middle of my rating.
I don't care.
What's your biggest problem, James?
Before I forget, because what you just said, the one thing I give him credit on is the amount of going in and out of the dream world didn't feel like the first Avatar, where it was like, okay, we get it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Valid point. I will say this. I liked how they came into the dream world, and they went on their adventure, and they went through every area. And then as she had to go back in to get to the pearls, she went right back through all those things and saw those same characters and repeated. And then they started running from the nightmare and coming after her. And then they're all together and all waking up. I enjoyed that scene. Now, but all that said together as a whole, I'm going to go 2.9. That's my 2.9 nerds, please.
One solid nerd higher than mine.
We need nerds. We need a bowl of nerds.
You know what? I want the nerd chews, the one that are like the chewies with the nerds all over the ball. Like those are
clusters.
Fucking clusters.
Clusters are that's the best candy out there.
You were a nicer person than I am when I said, around the ball. Like I thought you were going to take that one
no,
home.
No, I'm not a
dick
didn't. Like you guys.
Yes, you are.
Not like that. I don't have to be a child all the time.
Chime in a live chat. Is James a dick?
Now what we need
Inquiring
here is
minds want to know.
We need a cup of nerds.
Ooh, no. We each get 5 nerds in front of us, and we put forward.
We're up in the ante of nerds. Jesus Christ. I actually kind of like that idea. I give it a 4.
Okay.
0.13. But I like I said, I already said everything I had to say about it. I enjoyed it. It was for me. It had a good feel to the story. I love the pig. I like the animation that was done to get through the worlds. I like how they did it, but it didn't feel like that could have easily been. Could have felt like a Burton movie, but they didn't do that, which made me happy. If that makes sense, like Alice in Wonderland, they could have did something like that and made it feel like that. I'm glad they didn't do something like that. I like the dream world that they made, so that's where I'm at with it.
So I just want to say thank you to James because I think this was a great pick in the sense that we showed a complete, almost like a 360 across the board here.
From what we've been doing.
It shows our variety. It shows the diversity of how people perceive things, how people look at movies. And I think that's really the real goal for me with doing this podcast is I like seeing the differences of opinions. I like us talking about it, communicating about it, and working through it because it's not like, fuck you, you suck. It's, okay, yeah, there's this, but there's also this. There's this, and there's that. We balance everything. We put it in perspective. And I
finally got one that JP hated.
Yeah, I hated it. And this is a movie... And I can appreciate.
So everything I just said went to shit, and you meant revenge.
I genuinely actually thought he would like it, but I'll go fuck myself.
No, and I get why.
I was waiting for him to go. Yeah, go fuck yourself.
No, I'm being nice, unlike you. I get why you would have thought I might have liked this movie because it does have that fantasy element. It has elements that I genuinely do like.
You have a genuine hatred for Jason Momoa. You've never brought it up. It's not Star Wars related.
It's because I don't hate him. I think he's a horrible actor. I don't hate him. I think some of his movies are fun. He just was just annoying in this one for me. But I can appreciate the fact that you made me watch this because I would have never watched this movie. And I even though I did not like the movie, I appreciate that you had me watch it.
You're welcome.
Jason Momoa, I feel like I appreciate his extracurriculars and his humanitarian efforts when he's not in the acting world. I like him as a person and human being. He always interviews well. I do want to check out the new series he's doing, that Roads or whatever on Max. It's something Roads, I think.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Where he's traveling around the world and seeing different spots.
I know I've hated on him this whole episode, and I don't hate Jason Momoa. I've enjoyed him. I enjoyed him in the first Aquaman. I enjoyed him in the last Fast and the Furious movie. There's movies he's in that
certain movies just fit him, and certain just don't.
Yeah,
to you, this one didn't.
To me, when I can watch Jason Momoa is when he's in a film playing Jason Momoa.
No, I think I got something better for you. I think I have one that you're going to like.
But that's why I like him in the films that I do like him in, because he's essentially just playing himself, so he's not having to really act.
But he did have to act in a certain series that he's in.
It's like Jason Statham.
Which one?
C. What'd you think about C? Have you seen that? Okay, so the premise of this is it's a dystopian future. Everybody has lost the ability to see. There's only a couple people who are special that can see. They basically evolved back to having vision when humanity as a civilization has lost the ability to see. I think he does really well in that. And then not Star Wars, The Bad Batch, but there's a movie called The Bad Batch. It's another dystopian future that's pretty amazing. And it's essentially it's a prison. It's almost like how they did Australia back in the day, where they had the holy shit, my ear just popped and went. Anyways. It's like an island, a prison island in The Bad Batch. Why are we still pew-pewing?
He is so mad because we're ranting.
Because you brought it up.
What up?
Aren't you supposed to shut up?
Bring up.
Hold on.
He just said Star Wars.
Let's rewind.
No?
Hold on. Was it what, 1 or 2 episodes
said it's
ago?
Not Star Wars.
1 or 2 episodes ago. You said you were going to do a count. You weren't going to even bring the shit up anymore. You said you were going to do a count, and we're going to see how many times we said it next amount of episodes. You failed.
I forgot.
Last episode, I didn't say the word. I brought up characters' names. And you didn't even catch it.
No, I know what you're talking about, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Because I said it, and then he was like, fuck you.
You had to say the word.
It's all better than Batman. That's all that matters.
With that being said, that doesn't hurt my feelings, because honestly... Everybody's got their own thing.
With that being said,
nerds.
We are
the CineNerds. They are the CineNerds. I'm just here.
Comedic relief. You can find us at 3cinenerds@gmail.com. Also, if you go in our bio on Facebook, we have our link tree there, and you guys can check out all of the podcast sites that you might like to use. You can find out what one is best for you, and go to that, like, share, follow, the whole bit. Sharing is caring. That's what we said before. And then, most importantly, the fun one is we have a CineNerds merch store. That the link is on that as well.
Ryan still hasn't gotten me anything.
Nope. He's not worthy of something pretty and shiny. And pink. We still have to find out if they'll do that tutu.
I would wear it.
Oh, Jesus.
I might make him wear it.
I might have to get a tutu.
Could be our new sound check close.
February 25th, live episode. We have a special guest.
What the fuck?
William
There's
Butler.
your sound check.
We have a special live episode February 25th with William Butler. If you don't know who William Butler is, we'll post his IMDb.
And like for me, like so I know a little bit about him, but then when I started looking down his movie history, I did not realize he is one of my favorite characters in one of the better remakes that are out there, Night of the Living Dead, the 90s version. So I'm super excited about this. I'm looking forward to chatting with him.
And that one was done by Tom Savini.
Savini,
yes.
Love it. Right? You know what we're talking
With
about.
that being said...
Also, don't forget to press like, share, follow, subscribe. Sharing is caring.
With that being said, thanks for watching. We are going to do another live one, though. We need to say that. It'll be live with your boy. But we're also going to do another live one on top of that. There's just the three of us in the month of February. So
don't you just know how to say goodbye?
Yeah, you jumped.
That's because I thought you were going for a nipple.
You want me to?
Anyways. CineNerds out.
Bye. Fuck this. I'm out.